Your host Double R, and you're now tuned in to Retro Rob Television. Salute to my new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. And salute to my original subscribers for always holding your boy down. I truly do appreciate that. So, I want to talk about something that I've been talking about, with the people in my inner circle. It's a lot of people out there that are jealous and are hating on Devin Haney. It's a lot of people out there that are proud and excited for what's to come. When we're talking about Devin Haney being the new undisputed champion, in the lightweight division. I always knew Devin Haney had it in him. And I always said, it's really, they say, well, I believe it's the 4 kings or the 5 kings. There's only really 3 kings. Well, 2 kings right now because Shakur he's in the 130 division. He's not 135 yet. But in my mind, technically, it's 2 kings. And that's Tank and Dev. But don't look forward to them fighting anytime soon. Shadow Assassin in the building. Salute. Champ King Tally. Salute. Yeah. Reason that being is because not from on Devin's part. Well, I'll say stick to Devin's part, right? Devin is signed to a 3-fight deal, if I'm not mistaken. Well, 2-fight deal now because he's with ESPN Top Rank, Bob Arum. And it was 3-fight deal, but he fought Kambosos. So now it's 2, I believe. I don't know whether or not they have it in the contract to where as though if he moves up to 140, he can, renege on that contract or however that goes. But I'm just going to stick with him being locked into a contract. Bob Arum is no surprise to anyone that Vasyl Lomachenko is, supposedly coming back to the States, from the Ukraine and all of that stuff over there. And he wants to fight, finally, Devin Haney. But the thing with that is, but we all know that Lomachenko is the apple of Bob Arum's eye. And all of this was set up because remember, Devin Haney, and I'm just refreshing it to people that don't know about none of this stuff because a lot of people do. But Devin Haney was signed to Matchroom with Eddie Hearn and all of them in the zone. But in order to make that Kambosos fight that he just fought this past weekend, he had to go over to Bob Arum and Top Rank. And it's ironic because Bob Arum always finds his way into these fights. Remember, Bob Arum got involved with the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight. I think the second time around. And now he got involved with the Kambosos fight out of nowhere. And it's funny and it's strange because I always feel like Bob Arum always kind of has a vendetta or a strategic plan to get whatever he wants out of the deal, whether it's to, to get the belt to the fighter that he wants to have the belt or, to make the most money that he can make himself personally for his brand, which he's supposed to do. He's a promoter. You feel me? But I'm gonna tell y'all like how I feel about the whole Vasyl Lomachenko and Devin Haney situation before I get into why we shouldn't be looking forward to Tank and Devin fighting anytime soon. You feel me? I just feel like we all know that Vasyl Lomachenko, he ducked Devin Haney, and I personally don't feel like Dev should give not only Vasyl Lomachenko a chance to fight, but nobody in the 135 division a chance because every fighter that's a name ducked Devin Haney before all of this undisputed stuff. And the person in Kambosos that he fought for the 135 crown ducked him as well. That fight wasn't going to happen. He was forced. That fight wouldn't have happened if Vasyl Lomachenko wasn't doing what he was doing in the Ukraine. You feel me? So I just feel like with that being said, Dev should just say, fuck it. Let them do as they may. And the sanctioning fees and all that shit with those belts and shit like that, he should just do as let them do as they may and just go on to 140, and meet them there. Now, the thing with him and Tank, right, is that the thing with Tank is more so of what Leonard Ellaby and Floyd and all of them would accept. Like I've been asking people like boxing channels that have been covering and talking about the whole undisputed thing with Devin Haney, and I've been trying to figure out how would it work? What would a fight look like between Devin Haney and Tank? Not, them fighting each other. I'm talking about as far as the business aspect of it. What would that look like? What would the splits look like? Because Tank is a big name. He's a big draw, in that division. But he doesn't have the belts to show for it. And I personally feel like Floyd played, and a lot of others feel like Floyd and them played Tank, or Tank played himself, however you want to look at it. You feel me? Where Tank is 27. I don't know if he just turned 27 or he 27 about to turn 28. But Devin Haney is 23 years old, and has all of the belts. And Tank is able to put asses in the seats, whether you want to say it's off of Floyd's name or, his power and his entertaining ability, or a combination of both. I'm just looking at it like the time is not on Tank's side as far as us wanting to see him fight the likes of Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson, and whoever else we want to see, Teofimo, and this, that, and the third, And another thing, Bob Arum also said that he's not really putting up money because right now, as we speak, Devin Haney and Shakur is signed to Bob Arum, and he's not putting up money unless both Devin Haney and Shakur is fighting people like Lomachenko in particular, as Bob's boy, each other, Shakur fighting Devin, Devin fighting Tank, Tank fighting Shakur, or they're fighting Ryan Garcia, somebody like that. I don't even think Bob will put the money up for Teofimo, but so, which is a good thing, because I don't want to see them. I don't want to see Tank fight any, just anybody no more. He fought Rolly Romero. He got away with that. He fought Pitbull Cruz, Eastside Cruz, and that just so happened to be a dangerous fight for him. Let me see. Shadow Assassin said Tank and Crawford, from what folks say, played themselves when it comes to this boxing. Yeah, I mean, Tank, they ain't really play themselves because Crawford and Spence is still a big fight. And Tank is a big draw. You feel me? He still have that connection. Now, I don't know if Tank is actually signed to Mayweather, still signed with Mayweather Promotions, back signed with them or not. And I want to know, like, about the splits. This is what I want to know. I want to know how would that work now that Devin has all of the belts, because we could look at it this way. Okay, Tank put asses in the seats. Tank brings a lot of people in there. This is what I've been hearing. I'm going off of what I've been hearing repeatedly from Tank's side, particularly from Leonard Ellaby, the CEO of Mayweather Promotions. He's been basically saying that Tank put the asses in the seats, that Devin, is the fight don't sell, or it's too much money, or however he was saying it. But I thought it was kind of crazy, because I'm like, okay, Devin don't sell, but you'll fight Pitbull Cruz. Devin don't sell, but you'll fight Rolly Romero. Who sell more than who? Hold on, somebody trying to call. Who sell more than who when we're talking about Rolly Romero and Devin Haney? Who sell more than who? We talking about Pitbull, Eastside Cruz, and Devin Haney. You feel me? King Tolly said Haney needs to play the Floyd route and wait until Tank turn into a Flintstone car, older in age, then fight him. LOL. I mean, it's just going to be very difficult to make that fight, because I'm pretty sure, think about it, Devin Haney sacrificed a lot. He took a hell of a lot less than what he's worth to get these belts. And then he's going to have to pay sanctioning fees and all that shit. So it's going to get to the point, like, is it even worth it? And then, he's been having a rough time making weight at 135. So it's going to be like, is it even worth it to sit up there and go through all of this shit? And then, if let's say he's, in negotiations to fight, or Kambosos don't want to take the rematch, which he shouldn't, right? Which he shouldn't, by the way. But let's say Kambosos don't do the immediate rematch. It's fights out there, but the most intriguing fight, and the fight that, again, Bob Arum said he's going to put money up for, is, in Devin's case, either Tank or Lomachenko, which is looking like Lomachenko right now, which I do believe Devin will beat Lomachenko just as easy, or if not easier, than the way he did Kambosos. And then, that would be in the state. I wonder what the splits would look like with that fight. How would that split go? I'm looking at Lomachenko as 70-30 in Devin's favor. I'm looking at that like 80-20 in Dev's favor. Dev sacrificed a lot going over to Australia. Conceiving to everything that Kambosos wanted, even taking the less money that he's took in his career. So now I know Devin. That's why when Devin said something to Kambosos at the end of the fight, and I was smiling because I was happy that he said that. He said, "Remember what you told me at the beginning. You said it had to make sense." I said, "There we go. There we go." And not just for Kambosos, that gotta go for everybody. It gotta make sense, because at the end of the day, they ain't even think about it. The fighters ain't even give Dev that benefit of the doubt. They ain't even give him the it gotta make sense benefit of the doubt. They just was trying to smoke him out and duck him. The only reason why Kambosos fought him, for those people that don't know, is that he had no choice, because they wasn't the people that's the boxing powers that was putting the bread up in Australia. They wasn't trying to put no money behind just any fight. They said either Dev or Lomachenko. They couldn't get the Lomachenko fight, which they wanted initially, because Lomachenko was over in the Ukraine fighting with his country. So they picked the Dev fight. They had no choice. So Dev sacrificed a lot for that fight, and he has all of the belts. Now, when you compare him to Tank, yes, Tank put asses in the seats. Yes, Tank, but Dev has all of the belts, and Dev fought way tougher competition. When I talk to my sister, when I talk to my wife's sister, boyfriend, he's a casual boxing fan, and he knows that Tank ain't fought nobody. Excuse me, I don't want to get the names mixed up. But he knows that Tank ain't fought nobody for real. So that's what it's going to boil down to. Like, is what Dev is going to ask for, and if what Dev asks for is agreeable to Tank's people. And I say Tank's people because I don't know if Tank is actually signed back with Mayweather Promotions. But if he is, let's say he is, let's act like he is. I know Leonard Ellaby, I don't know if he was using that as a tactic to not fight Devin. Talking about that fight don't make sense. It had to be, because you fought people that don't make as much as Devin made. So what's the whole problem? And Tank has vocally expressed himself that that's the fight he want next. He want the winner, and Dev won. So now it's just a matter of, whether or not Kambosos is going to take the rematch. Because again, things have to look different now. Because at the end of the day, okay, let's say Tank and Dev fight. That fight is going to be, let's say Tank and Lomachenko fight. That's probably going to be 70-30 split, 80-20 split in the MGM Grand, Las Vegas. Will Lomachenko take the 20? Will he take the 30? Will Devin even offer him that? How would that go? And will Bob Arum force Devin's hands because he's still signed to him? And we all know how Bob Arum feels about Lomachenko. But Bob Arum also said that he would put up the money for Dev to fight Tank. So what if it boils down to a situation where Bob Arum wants him to fight Lomachenko because it's no secret, you know, Lomachenko is his guy, and they want Lomachenko back with the belts. You feel me? But Dev wants to fight Tank. He feel like Tank is the more lucrative fight, which it is, because everybody seen Lomachenko lose twice. Nobody ever seen Tank lose. Nobody ever seen Dev lose. And Tank and Dev are the two hottest motherfuckers in the 135 division. That's a fight that I want to see personally. That's a fight that people that I speak to in my personal circle want to see. Don't nobody want to see no Kambosos rematch. The people that don't even rock with Dev like that don't want to see that fight no more. And the people only want to see the Lomachenko fight because they feel like Lomachenko always been something that he not. He never was. You see what I'm saying? I don't even want to see that fight neither because I know Dev gonna whoop him. Probably doing worse than he did Kambosos. You know, I want to see Tank. That's the fight. You know. K.O.T.D said Tank is dangerous for Haney too soon. But I still think Haney can win. Oh, yeah, so let me get to the whole point of this video, man. Don't look forward to that fight happening no time soon, people. Don't look forward to that. Because we need to figure out whether or not Tank is actually signed back. Somebody let me know. You know, I'll do my research after this video. I should have did it before, but I was, you know, I wanted to get this message out. But if Tank, let's say, assume that Tank is still signed with Mayweather Promotions. I find it very hard to believe that Leonard Ellaby and Floyd will concede to whatever split Devin wants, because you would have to think that Devin, because he sacrificed so much to get this undisputed, that he's not going to, you know, fork over too much money for that fight. You know, and it's a very, very, as my brother K.O.T.D just alluded to, it's a very, very difficult fight for Haney. It's a difficult fight for both. That fight will really boil down to whoever is able to get their style off first. You know, will Tank be able to get close enough to Devin? Or will Devin, because Devin has this tendency where he wants to prove to people, he did it in the George Kambosos fight, where he wants to prove to people that he can exchange and he can get aggressive. And I've been hearing a lot of people out here suggesting that Dev should have gotten a little bit more aggressive with Kambosos. Dev is like Floyd. He's a master boxer. Do not get away from what you naturally are to try to impress other people that ain't got to get in that motherfucking ring and deal with it. Because, see, those same people that's telling you need to get more aggressive will be the same people that laugh at you when you get more aggressive and you get your ass knocked into next week. Or somebody hit you with a lucky ass shot and somebody beat you that ain't supposed to be beating you. Them will be the same people that laugh at you. Just like they doing this internet shit, you know, encourage people to do shit wrong, and then when they do shit wrong and they get killed or they get locked up, then all of a sudden these motherfuckers done disappeared, you know, waiting for their next victim to laugh at and clown. You know, nah, don't get away from you's a master boxer, Dev. Just tighten up on your, you know, there's a couple chinks in your armor that I'm seeing. You have a tendency to lean, I think, to your right, I believe. Where you lean your head to the side, I believe it's to the right. And that's a bad habit. And when the ref was coming in the middle, I don't know if y'all seen this, when the ref was coming in the middle to do the break, Dave, remember when Floyd fought, who was that he fought? The one that head-butted Floyd. Was it Ortiz? Victor Ortiz? It was somebody. And he head-butted Floyd. And it was a dirty move. And then Floyd, you know, knocked him out off the break. When the referee broke it up, Floyd, right after following the break, yeah, Ortiz, Floyd dropped him. And they said, protect yourself at all times. That's that type of shit that I was looking at. in that Kambosos fight. Dev had a tendency to get a little lackadaisical, directly following that break. And he kept doing it, and he kept leaning his head to the side. And that was a tactic that Floyd used to use when Floyd wanted to avoid that uppercut. And he's going to try to, if Floyd did that shit to avoid the uppercut, chances is Dev going to try to do the same thing, especially if he ever fights Tank, because Tank is known for that uppercut, and he jumps with that uppercut. You feel me? And if he does that, and he let Tank get off like he let Kambosos get off a couple times, all Tank really need is maybe one or two chances, and you going to bed. You going to bed. You feel me? So, and Tank is way more athletic. Kambosos is athletic too. Kambosos move quick too, but he is no Tank Davis. He is no fucking Tank Davis. Yeah, so that is a very dangerous fight for Dev. So with that being said, Dev need to get all he can get for that fight. And then at the end of the day, Tank needs him. Because again, I told y'all guys at the beginning, Tank is 27 years old. Tank is the face outside of Canelo. He's the face, especially when it regards, from 130 all the way up to maybe from 130 all the way up to maybe 140, because I think he fought Mario Barrios at 140. From 130 to 140, Tank is that dude. You feel me? As far as being notable and putting asses in their seats. But it's going to be hard sooner or later, or it's probably hard now for Tank to justify him being that man, and he don't have the belts to show for it. Meanwhile, Dev is still, he ain't even in his prime yet. And he looking the way he looking now. So at the end of the day, Tank needs Dev more than Dev will ever need Tank. Because Tank need those belts to justify his place. So I would make Tank work for that if I was Dev. Being that it's a dangerous fight, and being that as Dev has put in more work as far as the opposition and getting to that point. You feel me? Traveling all the way to Australia. Nah, Dev, we ain't traveling all the way to Australia and fighting tougher opponents for Tank to just get a shot like that. Nah, he gonna work. We gonna give him a shot because we want to see the fight. The fan in me want to see the fight, but we ain't just, nah. If I'm Devin Haney, I'm just saying, if I'm Devin Haney, I ain't pocket watching or nothing. I'm looking at possibly 60-40. Possibly, I would look at 70-30 for Tank. It's getting to the point where it's 70-30. I would look at 70-30, to be honest with you. I'd look 70-30 for Tank. And if they don't want to take that, then, forget it. You might have to just meet me up at 140 where both of us is comfortable at. Because it's getting hard for Dev. He coming into his man body. His man strength is getting hard. And Tank, it's getting hard for them to keep making that damn weight. So if I was Dev personally, if Double R was Dev, I ain't fighting nobody. I'm going to 140. I've accomplished what I already wanted to accomplish and all that shit. Nah, don't let these niggas, you had to earn those belts. You had to go around and earn those belts. Make them niggas earn them belts. Make Ryan Garcia fight for them belts, man. Stop hiding this shit. Accepting fights that he know he ain't going to be at. You see what I'm saying? Like, stop doing that. Let these dudes fight. Let Teofimo fight, man. He ain't even get his rematch with Kambosos. He ain't even rematch Kambosos. And the way it's looking, Kambosos probably ain't going to rematch Devin Haney. Let Lomachenko rematch Teofimo. Nah, fuck all that, man. We ain't doing that. That's what Crawford and them was doing to Earl Spence. Don't let me put in all the fucking work while y'all niggas just fight Joe Blow or fight my leftovers and think y'all about to be on the same level as me and ask for a fucking 50-50 split. Don't happen like that. So let's just, if I'm Devin Haney, I'm moving up. And that's what I believe, eventually he'll do. Now, I think he probably will have to and probably want to, or probably have already agreed to, fighting Vasyl Lomachenko. Question is, will Vasyl Lomachenko want to fight him? Now it's easy. The easy answer to say is, yeah, Devin Haney's undisputed. But again, this is a man who voluntarily gave up his belt so he wouldn't have to, and went behind the franchise so he wouldn't have to fight Devin Haney. And Devin Haney is much more mature and much more better than he was then. He was already dangerous then. He's even more dangerous now. So that question will still be up in the air on whether or not Vasyl Lomachenko is going to actually take that fight. But if he actually does take that fight, they're going to try to work Devin Haney just like they try to do with Kambosos. I believe it'll be a tougher challenge than it was with Kambosos, but I feel like Devin Haney will beat him too. Will beat him clearly too. It'll be a little bit more tougher, kind of like JoJo Diaz. Thus far, Devin Haney's toughest fight was probably JoJo Diaz. And he beat JoJo Diaz convincingly. So what did that tell you? What does that tell you? But Tank is no secret. Tank is something different. I'm no stretch by the imagination putting Tank in that category. Tank is different. Devin knows it. It's no secret. But the question is, and the topic of this video is, will that fight actually happen? I don't think people understand the importance in the splits between those two. I don't think people understand that, man. Dev came up under Floyd Mayweather. Leonard Ellaby has been talking sideways and shit. They're shrewd businessmen when it comes to this type of shit because, Floyd look at it this way. Floyd look at it as he's doing Dev a favor. It's not even about Tank because Tank wants to fight. That's what I want y'all to understand right now and get clear. Tank wants to fight. It's about Floyd, still going off of his name and the impact that his name has on boxing. But what Floyd and Leonard going to have to do is take a step down and realize who the big dog is right now and respect the big dog. So that fight, the chances of that fight happening is basically predicated off of whether or not Leonard Ellaby and Floyd and the money team is going to respect Dev's position in this whole thing. If they don't respect his position and they play him like, man, use a young buck, I know you got all those belts, but I'm Floyd Mayweather, and not acknowledge that it's not Floyd Mayweather and Tank and Haney, is Tank and Haney, that fight probably would never happen. And then you got to add the fact that Tank is getting older. You feel me? So it's like the older Tank is getting, the worse it is for Tank. Devin Haney is getting to where Tank is now. Well, he haven't even reached where Tank is now, but I'm talking about as far as getting into that man strength. Shadow Assassin said, I don't think the fight will happen anytime soon. They like to wait folks out, then say they ducking or fighting no names. Yeah. And I want to make that clear. I don't believe Tank is ducking. You feel me? But I'll tell you this. So let's say Tank is not still signed with, he's not signed back with Floyd Mayweather, right? If I'm Tank Davis, I would use the leverage and I'll say, okay, of course you're going to pay me what I feel I'm deserving of, and you feel like it's fair. That's a given financially. But I'm going to need you to attach, kind of like Deontay Wilder did with Eddie Hearn and them when they was trying to recruit Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder turned it down because Deontay Wilder said, well, I will sign to y'all as long as y'all add the fact that, or guarantee that I will face Anthony Joshua with that. And they didn't want to do that because they wanted to protect Joshua. And that never happened with the zone. I feel like that's what Tank should do with Floyd and them. Okay, y'all gonna pay me what I'm worth, fine. But in order for me to sign officially, I need y'all to promise me that you're going to give me that Devin Haney fight, because that's an easy promise to make, because Devin Haney is not ducking anybody. He never was. Devin Haney been calling out Tank for the better part of a half of a decade now. You see what I'm saying? You need to guarantee me that I'm getting that Devin Haney fight. You know, and I just feel like, man, that's going to be the obstacle. Bob Erm and all that shit, him and Floyd could work together. I don't want to hear niggas coming talking about they can't work together, they ain't got this, that. Nah, they'll work together. They'll do all of that. They'll get that done. Question is, will Leonard Ellaby and Floyd and the money team put respect on Devin Haney's name? Now, they got respect for Devin Haney as a fighter, but will they respect him at his current position right now, as far as being undisputed when it regards to him fighting Tank? Because remember, Tank is their golden goose. Tank is the Mayweather brand golden goose. Yeah, of course, they got Jaleel Hackett coming up. They got, he was Shakur and them, the other boy. Keyshawn Davis, I believe that's his name. But, yeah, they got some names coming up and shit like that. But at the end of the day, there's no Tank right now as it stands. So this is going to really show us in the next coming, I ain't going to even say years, in the next coming months, it's going to show us, or maybe next year, are they really, trying to protect Tank? Because I don't believe Tank need any protection, and I don't believe Tank want any protection. But I just believe that, promoters will get like that. They will get like that if they feel like that. I've watched Eddie Hearn do that for Anthony Joshua, protecting him from Deontay Wilder, even turning down a $50 million deal to make that fight. You feel me? So, and protecting Joshua from Luis King Kong Ortiz too. So I got to see that. The Shadow Assassin said, no Tank, not. He said no Tank, not, or Devin. It's other fighters that do that. Also, I'm not putting words in your mouth or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. He said these boxing promoters be bullshitting when it comes to making these fights. They want folks to build a resume. Then when it build, yeah. And that's the problem that I've always had, and many of boxing journalists and stuff like that, and analysts, the real ones, not the fake ones. But that's the problem that I've had personally, is that they'll talk about, size of the street, and they'll talk about this is not the right time, or we got to build it up, or okay, but it's the right time to fight Pitbull Cruz, but it's the right time to fight Rolly Romero. Many people didn't even feel like Rolly Romero even deserved that shot. But he's more deserving than Devin Haney, really? Pitbull Cruz? A lot of people didn't even know who those guys were until their name was associated with Tank and Floyd. This is the boxing politics, though. I call it dollar-ticks. Some people call it politics. I call it dollar-ticks and politics. Because it ain't always about the money. Like, a lot of people like, well, it's about the money. It ain't always about the money. There's a lot of shit that tied in there. It's about favoritism. It's about racism. You feel me? It's a lot of shit that tied into that. It's about people wanting to protect their guy. That's where I'm kind of sketchy about Floyd. Floyd, but Tank and Dev. That's what I'm kind of sketchy about that with. Is Mayweather Promotions trying to keep Tank away from Dev? Because we all know Devin wants that fight. We all know that all Devin got to do is tell his father to make it happen, because he's his own promoter. And they'll make it happen. It's really on the other side of will Floyd and Leonard actually allow Tank to go into a dangerous fight with Devin Haney, a fight that Tank vocally has expressed he wanted. Because Tank know he ain't really been fighting nobody up to his level. Tank know that Devin is the key to him, to ultimate supremacy in the 135 division, because Tank can run around like he's that dude because he's making money. But you're not that dude officially because you don't have the titles to back it up, to confirm it. you know. So that's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue. And will Dev, actually fight Tank, or will, the talk stall and Dev just be like, man, fuck this shit. I'll just fight Lomachenko. Let's say Lomachenko don't want to fight. Okay, so now Kambosos took step aside money. Lomachenko don't want to fight. But if Kambosos takes step aside money, Lomachenko is going to have to fight. So now we're looking at Dev beating Lomachenko. And then after that, will we make the Tank fight? Because I don't see Ryan Garcia fighting none of those guys anytime soon. Tank, Haney. I don't see him fighting none of those guys anytime soon. You feel me? He just look like he just sitting back, and his team and stuff is being strategic on how they moving him. So, and Teofimo seems like he's playing possum and shit like that. Will JoJo Diaz insert himself back into the equation? I know Pitbull Cruz won his shot. And Pitbull Cruz is like the Luis King Kong Ortiz of the lightweight division. Where he's just dangerous for anybody and everybody. So, but I just personally feel like Dev and a Tank are leagues above everybody else. I look at two kings. Shakur is no secret to people out, to my people, but Shakur is my favorite out of all of them. But Shakur just not at 135 right now, But, they can always fight at a catch weight and fight Shakur, shit like that, however they want to get it done. But I feel like both Dev, the fighter fan in me, want to see Shakur, Tank, and Dev fight each other. But the business side and me knowing that side of it, I don't see Shakur fighting either one of them anytime soon. You see what I'm saying? I don't even actually see them fighting each other anytime soon, Tank and Dev. So that's my thoughts on it, man. You want to give your thoughts and your opinions, man, leave a comment below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to receive all the notifications for when I put out new content. All right, deuces.